let's talk about people on the hot seat going into 2025. So there is some coaches on proverbial hot seat that are under fire in 2025 that if things don't go well, we could argue between Thanksgiving and the end of the season that unfaithful Monday after the regular season ends, they might be in the unemployment line. So we got a few teams on the list. We got the Bengals, the Colts, the Giants, and what's the last team I'm missing?
Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Yes. The Dolphins in regards to teams that are at a crossroads in the sense where, again, if they don't do things the right way or they don't have a successful season, we could be looking at a new coaching regime in-house in those particular organizations. So let's start off with those Colts and them choosing Daniel Jones as their quarterback number one. That's problem one for me.
Ballsy.
Yeah. So let's
bold strategy, Colin. Let's see if it pays off.
Right.
Great segue. Yes. So yes, let's talk about the Colts. We'll just toss it up and then we'll just discuss it in regards to what they're going to do. But I don't have high hopes personally. I don't have high hopes personally at all. I don't know what's going on in Indy. I know they lost their owner and things of that nature, but who's going to take the Colts first and talk about them and whether or not they we'll make it through the season, or what's it going to take for the coach to keep their job?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that they start. I think I said this in one of our chats, but for me, I mean, when they signed Daniel Jones, the conundrum they had with Richardson, it's easier for them to start Daniel Jones and bench him than to start the season with Richardson and bench him for Jones. Because the minute you do that, he's done. Like, you got to move on. So, yeah. I mean, I see why they did that from that perspective, and hopefully that they can continue to develop Richardson, because, I mean, the tangibles are there. It's just, can Steichen be the guy to get it done with him? And ultimately, I think this is kind of their last-ditch effort to save, who they invested in a QB, who they invested in a head coach, and see if they can get it done or, revitalize the offense. And, I just don't think that's going to happen in Indy. I think we're going to just see a dumpster fire of, 3-4 weeks of Daniel Jones, maybe a few splashy plays with him running, not passing. And then, they'll switch to Richardson, and it'll be a lot of the same that we've already seen with him. And then, boom, next thing you know, Steichen's out, and Irsay's daughters are resetting the whole thing. So, yeah, that's my assessment.
Daniel Jones, a highlight reel run where he's chugging and he gets caught from behind on the 5-yard line.
He trips himself.
He doesn't get caught. He doesn't get caught from behind. He catches himself.
Right. The turf monster grabbed him.
It's going to be better this time. At least this time he's going to be caught by somebody instead of tripping himself up.
Daniel Jones, athletic enough to break an 80-yard run, unathletic enough to trip himself before it's a touchdown. And that is Danny
Athletic
Dimes.
enough to break off an 80-yard run, unathletic enough to score on it.
Yeah, there it is. With nobody around.
Oh, my God.
Well, had it been Richardson, and again, remember, folks, I am a Florida Gator, okay? So when I talk badly about Richardson, it's because the kid just does not have enough time, okay? He had flashes at UF, and everybody pumped him. I'm not, hey, no sexual innuendo there, so don't even go there. I was not. I was actually
the pumps.
I was actually going real.
For that yet.
Oh, was it 3 pumps? The 3 pumps is the flag.
Yeah, well, no, it's 3 pumps and a dump, but that's otherwise than that. Okay, I'm just saying his college resume wasn't all that in a biscuit, and they ended up drafting him anyway. Okay, that's number one stupidity factor for the Colts. But if you are going to do that, then at least let him learn. And they didn't do that. If he was a guy that you needed to spend some time with, maybe get the ghost of Johnny Unitas in a ceremony with some lady and the crystal ball, and Johnny Unitas could teach him things. But you need something, okay? Hell, even you get Rex Grossman on the phone, for somebody that actually did something decent for the Colts. And by the way, he's another Gator who sucks. So you have that intangible Gator to Gator talk. Okay. I'm just saying, do something, right? I'm sorry. Grossman was a Bear. I apologize. Anyway, the point is, because they lost to the Colts. That was the Colts connection. But just do something. Okay. And they didn't do it. So they screwed themselves that way. Daniel Jones is not a bad quarterback. And I think that he will show out this year. But that's the thing is if they actually had something to put in front of them and they had some decent players, yeah, but they're not quite a dumpster fire, but be on the lookout for guys with gasoline cans and stray matches throwing it in their direction. Just saying.
Okay. Well, I got a question real quick before we move on to the next team, to Cap and Alex. Do you think that them signing Daniel Jones was Steichen's way of trying to save his job?
Hell yeah.
I do. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think in turn also a way to hopefully motivate Richardson and pick him up, or see if that would change how he progresses, because he clearly hasn't progressed much in the 2 years he's been there. But yeah, I mean, once I saw they were bringing him in, what they paid him, like I was like, he's going to start, and this is their way of saying, look, we're trying to improve the situation.
Okay. Is it maybe something similar to what they did to Bryce Young? How they benched him for Dalton for a little bit and then brought him back and it revitalized him?
Yes, exactly like that.
Okay.
Well, they better take the time to actually teach him things then, okay? I really think he needs training. He really does. He needs training.
I agree. He has all the tools. Outside of his health being a little bit of a question, he keeps getting banged up, but he definitely has all the tools. He has the arm, the athleticism, all the stuff is there. He just got to be able to, learn the game enough to be able to process it in a way that he can be successful, in my opinion.
Steichen has basically bought himself enough time to where if they are losing bad with Daniel Jones and they are forced to bring Richardson in, he has to play well, and they have to start winning games for Steichen to keep his job. If Jones plays good and they never move off from him, then he maybe buys himself another year and, can convince the ownership, hey, I got us, around 900 with Daniel Jones and a year of development under Richardson's belt. Let me see what we can do with him now after that. If Jones starts out bad and Richardson comes out bad, it's over. And Richardson, as terrible as it is, he's going to be probably thrown into that same Trey Lance boat, and that's going to be the highest upside. You get thrown into a bunch of systems, take, a bit of knowledge everywhere, and hopefully you land in a good organization with a great established franchise QB. You're able to back him up, get yourself some reps, and, show out in the preseason and hopefully, earn a backup spot. And maybe because Trey Lance is still 25 years old, we'll see what happens this year. I know that's insane to say, but we'll see what happens this year, and maybe you find yourself in a starting role. Like, it sucks that these project QBs and Lance was taken 3rd overall, Richardson was taken 4th overall. Like, it sucks that these big project QBs, and everybody knows it coming out of college, get given up on so fast, and there's nothing they can really do about it, and it's really unfortunate.
I got it. Well, that's my question then, because I was quite curious about what was it going to take for Shane Steichen to keep his job, and I think RG hit it. I think that if no matter who's the quarterback, if they're not successful at least above 500, then I think Shane Steichen is in the unemployment line in around Christmas, I guess you can say.
Get out of here!
There you go.
I'm watching baseball, so it was apropos.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Coach Mike Dub, you're up on the clock, man. Tell me, I believe you got did you draw the Giants or the Bengals? Giants. So tell me about the Giants, and what do you think it's going to take for Brian Daboll with his 3 quarterbacks for him to keep his job in 2025?
I think what it took was kind of what they did in the offseason. Their defense is going to be really good.
It is.
I think that's going to bode well for them. I think they have a good roster. The one thing that works against them is they have a pretty tough schedule, especially starting out. I think they got the Chiefs, the Eagles twice, of course the Commanders. Division games is always tough. So
they have the hardest schedule, don't they?
Yeah, they have
their schedule is really difficult. I think it might be
it is the hardest.
It might be the hardest. So yeah, like
Whoa.
so that schedule is going to be tough. For that reason, I think that of course he has two veteran quarterbacks that's on the team. So I think that bodes well for them. Of course, Jackson Dart looked good. So I think the collection of both drafting Jackson Dart, who's turned out to to look good in the preseason. Plus, they have the veteran quarterbacks that can kind of take the brunt of those difficult teams first. You add that in there. The only other thing I would say that works against them is the fact that it's New York, so they're not patient. So, this is a team that could start out, 3-4 or something like that, and they're calling for his head when the team isn't playing that bad. So,
3-4 is great in New York with that team. I'm sorry, Coach.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the thing is, New York media, depending on what their expectations are, they might tear them apart or anything. If you go 3-4 with that schedule, I think that's good. That's solid. So, I really think in order for him to keep his job, he just has to keep his head above water. Don't have any terrible performances, any complete meltdowns like we saw the Chicago coach last year at Thanksgiving and total mismanagement or anything like that. Don't blow this thing up completely. Keep it close, keep it competitive, and I think they'll give you another year because everybody can look at this roster and say, hey, they got something going here. They got some young stars on offense. They probably got their quarterback of the future, and they got a good defense. So just, as long as you don't have a complete meltdown, completely effed everything up, where it's like, it's all they can talk about Monday morning, then I think he'll be okay. I think they'll give him another year.
Okay. So what is the success rate they got to have in order for him to keep his job?
I say 7 wins.
Yep.
I'd say he already kept his job.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I think 7 wins. If he goes under 7, they might have to, depends on the performances. Is it bad losses? Is it close? But I think 7 is good enough for them to say, okay, we're improving. We're heading in the right direction.
Just keep Jameis Winston away from the crab legs.
Jameis.
Right.
But I will say, the best thing that they could have done is surround the rookie quarterback with 2 vets. You got Jameis, who's going to take the edge off. You got Russ, who's the professional. It's the best. It's a good situation. He's in the best situation out of all the young quarterbacks, I think.
For sure.
I like that. That's good.
Giants country. Let's ride.
You got Jackson Dart feeding W's to Jameis.
Oh my God! Hilarious.
I was not ready to do that, but you took it from me, so I'll give you a point for that, sir. I'll get my hand ready for you. Eating dubs.
The best will be if Russ has
waiting to happen. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. The best will be if Russ has a bad game and he tries to, throw that out. Very, you remember in Denver when he had that bad game, he's walking away and he's like, Broncos country, let's ride. Hey guys, let's ride. Don't forget. No, but like I was saying, I think he already kept his job just by Jackson Dart looking good in the preseason, them crushing their draft. Unless it totally blows up and it's like, 2008 Lions, I think he's sticking around because they've clearly invested in the future. They think they got the guy to get him, the coach and the QB to get them where they want to be. I don't see them blowing that up unless it just is a total S show.
Right.
Okay. No, 2008 Lions is only reserved for the Saints this year. That's the only team that's going to be able to hold a
candle. They're going to take for Arch
them.
and celebrate. And then he's going to be like, I'm staying, guys.
Arch is probably staying. Yeah.
It's going to be the first 0-17 season, and it's not even going to get you a quarterback.
Oh, no. We sucked again.
Yeah.
Almost, Coach. I'll give you some effort. It's like, oh no, we suck again.
That's it. So it's going to be uphill climb, but I do think they're doing the right things. I think that Dayball can convince the front office that to give them one more year, especially with Jackson Dart playing one in the preseason. They're like, look, we're gonna see what we got with the veterans. Bring them along slow, and then towards the end of the season, we'll throw him out there for a couple of games, let him get his feet wet. And then, next season he should be ready to go full on. We got our franchise quarterback of the future. When he had one since Eli Manning, let's roll with it and at least get another year being that he drafted Jackson Dart, especially by moving up in the first round to go get him after they drafted Abdul Carter. So yeah, I think they both got another year on his hands. But again, if it all falls off the rails and they go 0-8 in the first 8 or 9 games, they might be done by Thanksgiving. Who knows? That schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
That first 4 games, I don't envy him at all.
Hey, they got a respite. They have the Raiders like around New Year's.
Well, no, they got the Saints week 5, so they got a W coming in week 5.
Yeah, you got to win those.
Those
are the ones you got to win.
Yeah,
They got to win that game 40-0.
If they lose to the Saints, that's grounds for firing immediately.
That'll get you fired.
That'll get you fired immediately.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Get you fired before the clock hits 0.
Don't even get back on the plane.
Yeah.
Just stay here.
Ask them if they need any help, Brian. You're just gonna stay here in New Orleans.
There you go. Okay.
Oh,
all right, so let's talk about the Dolphins real quick. We're going to talk about Mr. What do you call him? What did the Geek Squad employee? The
Geek Squad in Best Buy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. I'll take the lead on this one. I got some Dolphins fans on my Twitter feed that's constantly bantering me about how good the Dolphins are going to be this year when they're completely and totally looking through teal colored glasses. So
they got some good stuff that they're either smoking or injecting down in Miami. That's why they're saying that there, Coach. That's for sure.
Cap, I share that sentiment tenfold here because they're looking at a really bad way coming to them in 2025. It's gonna be a war to hurt. And I think that they have honestly and truly mismanaged the situation with the high power offense that they have. I think the thrill is gone. I think they've been figured out. I think they've been dissected enough where people can limit their ability to move the football. And on top of that, they've gotten really bad on defense, especially in the secondary. So they're going to be, in shootouts, number one. Two, we have questions about their heart and their character in regards to them playing in cold weather, which they're ultimately going to have to do because they play in the AFC East, not, warm weather areas like Vegas and LA and places like that where you can kind of get away with it. So that's an issue. Again, you're fighting uphill against the Bills. The Patriots have gotten better. The Jets are, changing the guard over there. So it's an uphill climb. And their biggest and most glaring problem I have is the fact that they did not address enough in regards to their O-line. I think the O-line got worse in offseason. They lost their stalwart left tackle. He retired on them. That was problem one. They didn't improve the other areas on O-line. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, I understand that he's, a Shanahan disciple and things of that nature. But, dude, at some point you got to protect your quarterback, who's not mobile, who has a limited, arm, capacity and things of that nature. He's an accurate quarterback. I'll give him credit for that. But if you don't protect him from himself because he is injury prone on top of all of that, you are doing yourself a disservice, and it's ultimately going to get you walked out the door, in my opinion. Because but without Tua being upright, they're dead in the water, and they're picking high to draft regardless. If he goes down to any stretch, and you didn't do it, all you could do to protect him in 2025, that's a complete and utter mismanagement. Now, he may feel like he thinks he can do what Shanahan does in San Fran, where he can just throw some ham and eggers out there on the O-line and it'll work. It doesn't always work that way, especially when you don't have a quarterback that has the toughness level of the quarterbacks you've had in the past. So, I mean, hell, even San Fran quarterbacks get hurt when they don't get protected. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance got hurt, Brock Purdy got hurt. I mean, it's a real thing, and your quarterback is the most brittle out of all of them. So, with that being said, the fact that they not addressed the O-line in a glaring fashion, and Tua's going to be under fire a lot, especially in this division with that pass rush in the AFC period, where pass rush is myriad on every front. Every corner you turn around, on every street, on every block you look at, there's a pass rusher looking at you like, hi, I'm going to sack you. So I think that you're doing yourself a complete and utter disservice. And I think they're going to be looking at things, they're going to be looking up at other people ascending above them in probably the first 4 to 5 games, in all honesty. Again, with the secondary being bad, the pass rush is probably the only thing you have to hang your hat on, but the interior D-line is weak, linebacker core is weak, the safeties are weak, the corners are weak. Your O-line is weak. Only thing you have is your running backs who are injury prone, and your wide receivers, which of one is in turmoil with the locker room because he basically told him that he wasn't coming back, and all of a sudden, when he didn't get traded, he decided to want to mend fences. So that's an internal fight that they got going on. So
Plus, he's going through a divorce. Remember that too.
Another
He
thing.
just got slapped with a huge judgment.
He did. So
Reigns it before.
yeah, I don't think that they're going to
play
be.
for 10 more years.
He might need to just to pay off all that debt between the babies and the divorce settlement. So yeah, I don't see where there's any room for the Miami Dolphins to be good in this particular outfit of 2025. And in all honesty, they might, I think third or fourth in their division is probably the best they can hope for at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my in take on it. And I think that's where it ultimately lands. And again, the Bills and other teams are not going to do you any favors. And when it comes down to you playing them, so
Patriots got better this year.
They did.
All the teams got better. You could argue all of them in there.
And I would argue that they probably got worse.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, they kind of sat on their hands. They tried to run it back.
I picked the Dolphins 5th in the AFC East.
Yeah. That's fair.
That is fair. That's a fair take. That is a fair take. So did anybody have anything to add? I don't think that outside of them making the playoffs and shocking the world, Mike McDaniel might be out on his ass. I'm just gonna be honest.
No, not in the AFC. The AFC is way too loaded for the Dolphins to even try to sneak in as the 7th seed. They're not even gonna make it out of their own division.
I'd argue McDaniel, out of the ones that we're talking about, is the most likely, if not already written in, to be out of the job by the time
mid-season.
It's in pencil.
I don't know about mid-season, but I don't think. I mean, I think the McDaniel experiment's over unless they just somehow drastically turn it around. But even with that, I mean, people figure out his offense. Once you get into the nitty-gritty of like the postseason or later, it's all timing based, and so it's like if they can just throw 2 off of that, the whole thing's screwed. And on top of that, I mean, as Coach was saying, like they didn't invest in their O-line, which is fine in that system, but it's only fine if everyone else is healthy, and they're not. So, they're going to have an undrafted free agent likely be their starting running back to start the season off. And then you got the conundrum with the wide receivers. Like, it's just, I think all the fixings are there for this to just be a straight dumpster fire.
Hey, Coach, I was going to say one thing as well. First off, you need a drop from a certain executive who's sitting in the White House. You're fired. Okay, you get that one, and that's good for the season as well. But I will say this, and this is in all seriousness, and this actually goes to their quarterback. The last time that he was injured, he was there, and he was doing the what they call it, the position. Thank you for that. He was in the fencing position. I really, really think that he is one hit away. Maybe not just, and I'm not trying to do this for dramatic purposes, but he's one hit away from actually dying on the field. And I think that somebody really needs to take him aside and say, you got your marriage, you got your kids, you got your money that's set up. If he has any sort of injury this year that's not serious, the guy needs to just walk the F away. I'm serious.
I agree.
Yeah.
I said that last time when he got hurt. When that last injury happened, I said he really needs to consider retirement.
Oh, yep. And when he came in, the whole media about like, well, what doctor said I'm fine. I'm like, I bet I just got the impression he probably went to like 6 different doctors until he got to the one that's like, yeah, I think you'd be okay. All right.
Yeah, Dr. Vinny Boom Bots. He went to Vinny Boom Bots. Rodney Dangerfield.
Went to America Samoa Medical School. Go Crabs or whatever.
I think, what was crazy is like he was like adamant against wearing the shield too, the helmet shield.
I know.
It's like all right, at this point, you're just being
if anyone needs it, it's you, dude. Yeah, it was made for you.
Do you want to be a drooling person at 40? Like, do you want to be that guy?
That was the thing. Like, it's. I understand. Okay, you want to go away, whatever. But for you to just deny additional, like now you're just being stubborn.
Really are.
Not to be crude, but like I've seen that meme where people like reface Tua's face on Ace Ventura when he's like at the mental facility pretending to be a QB, and I'm like, man, that is gonna be Tua. Unfortunately, I mean,
I'm gonna complete a Buckingham pattern, super slow mo.
Let's go back. It's super slow mo. He's at the bush, the hedges, and he's like under center.
Right. Blue 42, Blue 42,
Yeah.
hunt.
It's bad in Miami, dude. The 305 is on fire, not in a good way.
Indeed.
Race is out, Dan.
That's right. That's right. That is right. So yes,
Classic
we're going to pray for the Dolphins' future. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray for Tua.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. All right. So our final team on the list before we get to our hot take segment, because I'm really excited about that. Young RG, tell us about the Bengals and what are the Bengals' chances of Zach? Was it Zach Taylor and somebody making it out of 2025 with his job if they don't do things the right way?
So I'll say this. Zach Taylor is at least locked in for the entire season. He will not get fired mid-season. However,
why?
If you miss the play, because they are going to give him the 1 year with Trey Hendrickson back. They are going to give him the 1 year with T. Higgins on his renewed deal. Burrow's back. They're going to basically try to run it all back what they did last season. Even though last season, what you can consider was a mildly unsuccessful season. It's the fact that it was back-to-back seasons of playoffs missed with Joe Burrow as your QB. And if you were to do that for a third consecutive season with the league leader in sacks, with the Triple Crown winner at wide receiver, with just shy of 1,000-yard running back in Chase Brown, you are going to get fired. You cannot miss the playoffs 3 consecutive years with Joe Burrow as your QB first and foremost and expect to keep your job. I understand the division is tough. I understand that you don't necessarily have a defense, but that is also partially on you. The GM obviously has the majority of fault with it, but you are the head coach. You also carry burden on that. You decided to go this route of offense, firepower, and like we were talking about the Dolphins, they are going to be in a shootout every single game. The difference is, unlike the Dolphins, they actually have the offensive firepower to win shootouts and win them pretty consistently, I could argue. It's just a matter of, is the defense going to hold up? And we saw that the answer to that question all of last season, the answer was no. And at every point that the defense needed to make a stop, they were not able to. Similarly, and Burrow, he has caught some flack for this on some shows from what I've seen, but similarly, Joe Burrow did have chances and opportunities to win some of those games last season, and he did not come through for his team. I could point to the Ravens game. I can't remember which one it was, either their first or second matchup, of course, but had a chance to take the lead, driving down the field under the 2-minute warning, throws an interception. So, Chargers game, tied 30 apiece. The Chargers defense has collapsed. You've come back. Needing to lead a drive to take the lead, unable to do it. So there was opportunities and moments, and obviously don't even need to bring up week 1 last season against the Patriots. There was plenty of opportunity for the Bengals and for Joe Burrow to win games for his team, and he did not come through. Now, this is not to put blame on Burrow. The defense is largely at fault. However, if Burrow is to be considered a top 3 QB, and a lot of people have him right at that 4 range because obviously they have Lamar, Allen, flip-flop 2 or 3. Obviously, Mahomes is in first. But a lot of people have Burrow in that elite echelon of QBs. And if you're in that elite echelon of QBs, you are expected to win those games when the defense has done enough, in the sense that you're in the fourth quarter, tie game within 1 score, and you have a chance to either go down and take the lead or at least take the game into overtime. And Joe Burrow, unfortunately, did not do that at many opportunities last season. So Zach Taylor, your career potentially, or your head coaching career, rides on this season, and essentially needing to make the playoffs, and I would argue needing to win a playoff game.
What was the malfunction with the Chiefs last year? And again, I'm not just saying this to piss you off, Alex, but wasn't there a Bengals Chiefs moment of refereeism that worked in their favor, or was that 2 years ago?
No, there was a call, but the dude 100% slammed in the receiver before the ball was there. So, it happened at the end of the game, but it was a bona fide call. There was no controversial. There's no controversy about it. I mean, and that's not. I'm not even saying that as a Chiefs fan. I think of all the end of game situations that may have been a little murky, that was 100% the cleanest one.
Yeah, the least murky. Okay, yeah. I will take your word for it. I just remembered that there was something, about that game. I couldn't remember what it was. I appreciate you. And again, I didn't throw it out there just to be an ass.
I didn't take it that way. Hey,
I was just remember. I will do. What was the guy's name that was that? I misremembered that.
Got it. Yeah. So I share the sentiments about the Bengals, personally, man. I think that this has got to work. I mean, you dealt all that money. You got to pay Trey Henderson some more money to keep him in house for a year. Teaming him up with Jamal Stewart, that was that whole mess that we covered in the past shows about that and how that ended. Yeah, got to get it done. I mean, regardless of the uphill climb that you have, because you have, probably one of the leakiest defenses in the league right now.
That's being generous.
You gotta get 30, 40, 50 points up a game and just hope for the best, right? But I would say this, so you saying a playoff berth and a victory in the playoffs?
You need a playoff win with Burrow as your QB. Yeah, I mean, Burrow has been to the Super Bowl already, so simply making the playoffs is not enough.
Yeah.
Like you need to win a game.
You can't have all that money in there, invest in the offense with an offensive-minded coach and not at least make it or win one game or get in the consideration.
I'll put this little caveat in it. Yeah, caveat. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I'll put this little caveat in it. If you somehow, if parity plagues the NFL this year and, somehow the Chiefs, the Bills, somebody like that is not, one of those top seeds and you end up playing them round one and it's, a back and forth game and maybe it's something like, the defense loses it for, whatever team you're playing, Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, they walk it off on you. Something like that, maybe you can argue, but even then, I still think Taylor gets fired.
I'd argue though they fired their DC, man. Like all the scapegoats are gone. So the buck stops with Taylor now. So
okay, Mike W, got anything to add to this before we move on?
Nah, I agree 100%.
Hey, maybe we can fake an injury.
And dude, I know this is a coach's segment, but I would echo what RG was saying in that at some point it's got to follow to Burrow's feet too. And I think even Brady said this recently, like, there's QBs. He was talking about Burrow without talking about Burrow, but Burrow's always all about his stats and what he does. And he's like, at some point you got to be like, well, what do I got to do to put the defense in a better position? Or what do I got to do to get us scoring rather than just throwing 4,500 yards and 50 touchdowns every year. And so,
this is very reminiscent of the Colts in the Peyton Manning's prime years when their defense was complete and utter garbage. But Peyton Manning was such a savant on offense that they won despite the defense being bad. So, they were one of those ball control offenses where they kept their offense on the field. The defense had limited snaps and they won games that way. I will argue they still needed a slightly better defense to finally win the Super Bowl, but though it was quite a few years, 3 or 4 years in a row. I feel like they were just terrible defensively, but they were so good on offense. They were just in ball games every week, and I think that's what the Bengals have to do as well.
But even then, why were they so good on offense and able to maintain that the running game? Now that's something that the Bengals, if they're able to get that going this year, now you have something potentially going in the sense that, okay, even when we finally do get the lead, we have the offense still capable to run this clock down and not have to put our defense back on the field again.
That's a good one.
And I mean, those Colts too, they always lost to Brady in the AFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
The Chargers were
1 year.
There was a couple.
But my point is what I was saying is, even with that, they were in the playoffs every year. They were in consideration to be a Super Bowl team.
Winning
they say that about the Bengals now, but the last 2 years they haven't been in the playoffs. And I mean, even this last year, they needed Kansas City to beat Denver when they already had their spot locked up to even make it in. So
I mean, the thing is with the Bengals, they're not even winning the division.
That part.
Yeah.
The Ravens are consistently winning this division.
We also argued that particular division in the South at that time when Peyton Manning was there was complete trash. Like
it was.
complete trash. So
Yeah,
it's
you had a brand new team with David
Yeah,
Carr.
right. The AFC East when the Patriots were running, everybody was trashing the Patriots. So yeah, it's like it was like
Jacksonville with Byron Leftwich, Garrard,
exactly.
Mark Brunell, probably.
I don't even know who Tennessee had at QB.
Not quite Brunell, but Garrard and Leftwich. You are correct, sir. Yes.
Yes, indeed.